Today I have a very special guest with me. It's Olivier, and he's going to show me some magic with an umbrella.
Yes, thanks a lot, Martin, for having me here. The trick is Japanese juggling, Japanese traditional juggling with an umbrella and a yarn ball.
Olivier, what's a gentleman juggler?
A gentleman juggler is a juggler that use everyday objects, like in the old times it was cane, hat, cigar, but nowadays it's what I'm using is glasses, bottles, spoons.
What's the best event for you to do your thing?
It's like a classy event, a cocktail where there is many people and they want to be entertained. You could use a close-up magician, but what I bring is something more surprising and more visual than a magician. So when I'm using the trolley, I have many tricks and people can really enjoy it. It's interactive. I have like kind of games, but it's juggling games I can do and they can do. And I also bring lots of humor. So it's something impressive, funny and interactive for everybody.
I have this creative question for you. Imagine I'm a marketing agency and my client is selling cars and there is an exhibition. How would your show be a good match?
Then you can relate, if you talk about car, you can talk about like control or speed, and juggling is about controlling the speed. So you can use a juggling axe or juggling trick to say, as a juggler, you need to control the objects, and as a driver, you need to control your car. But the car has to be able to drive without problems. And as a juggler, you have to go through your routine without problems. The velocity is also very important for the juggler. So velocity with the car, something you can relate. I'll let you work on that.
I often get that question, like, oh, we like the show, but you know, how it's going to fit in our marketing strategy.
Yes.
And I think that will give good ideas to them to take a show to the next level, and at the same time, of course, selling their cars.
Yes. Many times on the TV you can see juggler where there is a control situation, like how to handle many different projects at the same time. So it's not about cars, but it's always about project. And in everyday life, people talk a lot about juggling between life and work, and so you can juggle with different objects like a baby doll, a computer, and how you can keep everything in the air. That's a good thing to hire a juggler.
What I like about you, that you said you studied the history of juggling, correct? So yeah, I wonder what can you learn from that? Like, what are your tips, your tricks that you learned from your classical study?
The main idea is that there has been jugglers for a long time, and they have done many tricks in front of lots of people in the audience. So they have a knowledge, and you can study this knowledge. Tricks, you don't have to invent everything, and you can use tricks that have been done in the past and that still works today, especially with the gentleman juggling, because the everyday objects are still the same. Glasses are still the same, bottles are still the same. And I think it's really important for circus artists to know the basis. And so you don't claim to have invented something which you don't.
Is juggling, is it like coming up with new things, or do you believe like when I do the old tricks, it's also still working?
It's both. I mean, you had an interview with Alexis Levillon, and he invented many tricks with a Diabolo. Also because the techniques and the material of the Diabolo has evolved, and now you can do things you couldn't do before. But juggling is also being yourself. So if I do a trick that has been done a long time ago and I read it in a book and I say, okay, I want to give it a shot, and it works and I can use it in my shows, but then I'm using my personality to make the humor or the presentation. And so it's both things. It's like piano. You can learn songs that have been done billions of times, but then you can do it yourself.
Did you ever had a show that somebody later came to you like, you changed my life?
It's funny you ask that because I have a show about juggling history, and the dream about this show is that someone will come to me in like 5 or 10 years, because most of the kids who grown up, and tell me, okay, I started to become a juggler because I saw your show. That's the dream. And I know young jugglers who are really interested in what I do. So in a way, I'm also already a part of the juggling history. Not really yet a big part, but that's the idea. And I think juggling is really about sharing what you do, and it's fun to do. So it always gives people the envy to try it.
It's interesting because in freestyle talent we have many sporters, you know, and they are the best in what they do, and it's always like that. Like many children see them and say, "Oh, I also want to be like him," you know, and yeah, they get inspired. And I think that's the beauty of the acts we have, that they are not just entertained, but they can be an inspiration, they can be a motivation for people to do different things in their life.
Yeah, it's true. And I think in like circus school, what the teachers they do is they show children what they can achieve. I mean, if you talk about piano, everybody knows that what you can do as a good piano player. But as a kid, if you go to a circus school, you don't really know what a good juggler is. And in the history, when you study history, many jugglers, I think all of them are either coming from circus family, but no, it's not the case anymore, or they have seen a juggler someday. And sometimes they ran out their family just to follow the circus and become a juggler, or they just started to practice with potatoes because they saw a juggler on TV and they say, oh, I want to do that, and let's start practice with, or I have potatoes, let's start practice. And it's always like this. It's always because you see somebody doing something that sometimes it clicks. And when you have luck, you see many things, and then you can finally see what you want to do.
Do you have like a certain dream for yourself? Like, that's where I want to go with my show, or that's like the most cool place I would like to do my show?
There is, I'm not sure the plus grand cabaret du monde is still up, but there are many.
You know, I also have been doing my show at Le Plus Grand Cabaret du Monde with my skipping show. Yeah, it was a good experience.
Yes. So it's a good place. Also, like my parents would be very proud because everybody knows the Plus Grand Cabaret du Monde. But there is many cabarets in Allemagne, in Deutschland. I would like to go. Like there is the Tiger Palace in Frankfurt, and this is a place where the best jugglers in the 70s, in the 50s came to perform, and it's like, if I ever perform there, then it means that will be walking on their steps, and it will be very honorful. Yeah.
What I also hear from that is like, and that's the same thing with many sport people, like they still want to compete with the others, maybe not like at a real competition, but they want to be on top. But on the other hand, I experienced like that the show is not all about doing the most difficult skills, but also choosing skills that people believe it's hard to do. Do you have the same?
Oh yes, with juggling it's always the same. But that's the idea of you're doing a show, so it's not about how difficult your trick is, it's what the audience feels. So if it's a very difficult trick and nobody cares, then it's not worth putting in the show like that. Maybe you can work on the presentation and make it then people understand how difficult it is. and sometimes really easy trick are enjoyed a lot by the audience. So sometimes I see circus artists, they don't want to do a certain trick because they say, oh no, it's like too cheesy, but then it's what the audience wants to see. So this is material you have to use, but then always think about what the audience will see and will remember about your show.
Okay, but we are pro creativity and pro trying new things. That makes us unique, right?
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, you brought this very nice umbrella from Japan.
Yes.
Can you tell me something more about it?
The Japanese juggling is something really traditional. So they hire a Japanese juggler to celebrate an event like a birthday, a wedding, opening of a new building. And the Japanese juggler is supposed to bring luck, health, money to the audience. And so they use everyday objects because at that time, in the beginning of the 19th century, they didn't have plastic. They were using normal objects from everyday life. And so this is an umbrella, and they use this yarn ball, and they make it spin on the umbrella. The umbrella symbolizes the universe, so it has to be balanced, and this symbolizes the health. So you make it spin on the umbrella, and if everything goes well, then normally the audience have the health for the next.
But I can imagine that when it goes together with some real live piano, it will look really beautiful.
And then you say, "Arigatou gozaimasu," in Japanese way.
Okay, thanks Olivier for this interview and show. And yeah, if you like to see more of this stuff and see more interviews, then you just have to ring that bell, and I hope to see you soon at the show. Thanks a lot.
Me too. Thanks a lot, Maarten. It was very nice being here.
All right.
See you.
Bye.